approval on the minutes. Looks good, I think. I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposition? Then it's passed. Public comments?
I do have a gentleman that's here that's not on the agenda, and I recommended that he come and ask some questions. He's got a piece of property out on Chester Avenue. I think it's this piece of property right here, if I'm not.
Is that over the railroad tracks?
Yes, sir.
Directly across from the farm center.
Sure. Okay, what?
And
Farm center.
The house back there.
Ben, I'll let you kind of describe what you're trying to do, and I'll let you know why I couldn't move forward and why I brought you in here.
So, it's the first house as you come down Chester Avenue. It's the first driveway there on the left. There's
Is
a
it the
little
one highlighted in blue?
Yes.
Okay.
Now the farm center has an acre right there
I
on the
see.
corner
Yeah,
there,
okay.
and
Okay.
where they have a barn and stuff. But my house is right there at the end of that driveway.
Okay.
And what I'm wanting to do is we're living in that house now. I'm wanting to build on the backside, up on top of the hill. It's out of the floodplain, kind of right there. There's an old barn right there and stuff. And you see the block of woods come up, down, I say, right there.
Okay.
I'm gonna build right there. It's up on top of the hill, it's out of the floodplain and all that. But I need to take water from the house that's existing up there, because I'm gonna take the house that's existing and I'm gonna take it up, move it, and to another lot. Maybe this fellow's lot, if they'll approve it. But I'm gonna move it to a lot and sell the house.
So do you have city water now?
Mhm.
Are you in the city limits? No. Okay, so
It's right.
Mark, my question is if there's never a dual use of that single tap, I don't see why there would be an issue unless you built a new house and kept your old house, and then
No.
you're servicing two houses off of one tap.
It's going away.
I don't know that there would be a need for a new tap.
The one thing, and I apologize because I was thinking this was in the city limits. Go ahead.
The front 9 acres is in city limits. Pretty much the floodplain is in city limits. Everything out of that is county.
Okay.
There's 22 in the county, 9 in city.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this house and the other house are both going to be in the county. The city is just the front.
Okay. So
He's probably going to run into the same issue that I brought up about building two primary structures on the same lot.
Now Don just left. I encounter this all the time because I build houses for people that want to build a house and then tear down their double wide, or build a house and move out their double wide. What the county does, now this is the county, what the county does, if you're wanting to build a new house to replace an old house, you get a replacement permit. So it's well documented. You get a written statement from the property owner stating, I'm building this new house. Upon occupancy of the new house, the old house will be removed. The county requires a signed affidavit with a notary stamp on it, so that if it were ever violated, the county would have the full right to go down and record it, to make it a more legal, binding contract. But a signed affidavit by the property owner stating exactly what he's trying to do. I'm so and so, I live at such and such an address. We're going to occupy this property while we're building our new house. Upon receiving a certificate of occupancy on the new house, within 120 days, the other house will be moved or torn down. And the county handles that, and then the county also requires, in the event that property owner lies to them, the county also requires them to go ahead and pay the full facility tax on the new structure, but then refund the facility tax applicable to the square footage of the old structure that's going to be removed after they come out and inspect and make sure that that it's gone. Now, the time frame you put on that would totally be up to the city.
If you build a new structure on an existing lot with the structure, you only pay the difference
Yes,
in
but
the square footage for the
yes.
facilities tax.
Yes, you get a credit if you got 1,500 square foot.
Get water tap.
Oh,
The
that'll
only-
be county
still got the-
anyway.
The only thing I get from the city is water.
Is the water.
Everything else is county. I have to go
But it's
to the
pre-existing,
permit.
so if there was only one use on that tap, I don't know that it would matter if it's serving that house or the new one up the road.
I would defer to Todd on that question.
I'd have to look at that, and I don't think it's, again, I had misunderstood kind of what the situation, I thought it was gonna be the issue of having two principal
Yeah,
it's going
structures on
away.
one
Yeah, if
lot.
the one's going away,
Which
it's-
the city, I think, could address probably through a variance procedure if that were the issue, but if that's not within our jurisdiction, as far as the water tap goes, I think Mark may be able to approve that, or maybe the board or mayor and alderman that would approve that. It wouldn't be planning commission with respect to.
I would agree to that. And Mark, I think what you would do is kind of the same thing. The city could get a signed, sworn, and notarized affidavit from property owner stating, I'm the sole use of this one water tap. I promise that this water tap will only be used for one residence. I promise that I'm not going to leave the other house there and service two residences off of one tap. You're going to live in the one house until you finish the other house.
That's right. I'm
That's
leaving the old
reason.
house.
Yeah, so
Till
that's
the new house is up.
Sure,
I'm moving in.
sure.
And
So,
yeah, we can take care of that language and whatever the board needs to do to make that happen. And you'll need to go see Don Nelson to get the permit to do the structure itself.
if the new house is outside the corporate limits in Chapel Hill.
Yes, I've been in contact with his office,
Okay.
his secretary, and I've been in that process. Sure.
The only other thing that I would add is that the city would have a right to have an agreeable amount of money for the demolition and have this gentleman post a bond for it. That way, let's say that he never demolishes the old house or doesn't.
But the old house is not in the city limits.
Yeah, neither one.
Nine,
The front 9 acres
but
of
we
the
would,
property
we would
is,
still be servicing, we would have the property serve, right. And that's something we don't want to do. So it's just something that it's
so you
another
could put
tool in the
up,
bag.
sure. So you can put up a $2,000 cash performance, same thing as a performance bond, and then get that back once the city knows that you don't have two houses on one tap.
It's just another way of making sure you say what you're going to do. I mean, that's just an option. You don't have to do it, but you can if you wish.
But I've had to do that in Spring Hill in the winter. We finished the house, couldn't do the sidewalk because it was too cold, and they made me put up $5,000 until I finished the city sidewalk.
I mean, if that's what the
Guys,
city wants, I don't have
That's
a
up
choice.
to the board.
I'll have Todd draw us up some kind of an agreement for the board to look at in a couple of weeks, and we'll take care of the water situation.
Okay, yeah, that's all I have to take to Don, and then I guess, well, that y'all all work together, so.
You'll have to approve of your septic when you go see Don.
That's, I'm using the septic tank from this house.
But you still gotta have proof of it.
Yes, that's the last thing.
Yeah.
This one.
Typically,
For the
we would
county, not for
require
us.
a zoning compliance, which shouldn't apply. in-
Shouldn't apply if he's not in the city limits.
Yeah, that should, again, I think as far as the timing, we can just address the timing issue in the language of the agreement, but just making sure that, basically from the town's perspective, that there'll never be a time where both buildings are accessing this one tap, and making sure that doesn't cause a problem with your permit.
If I remember correctly, you were told that you needed a zoning compliance from.
Laura probably
Codes
pulled his
office.
tax card and
Yeah.
just saw it was in the city, so if you prove to
The lady
Laura,
at-
yeah, Laura at the county,
Yeah.
if you show her where your house is going, that it's not in the city, you won't need a zoning compliance certificate.
And you might have to go to Diane Deberry there in
Tax
Michelle's
office or
office
something.
to get that proven to her. I mean, they're right across the hall from each other.
Alright,
And as soon as I get that, we can vote on that in 2 weeks, and then your water will be taken care of in a couple of weeks.
okay, and I'll tell the city, or the county, if there's any other issue between now and then, get my building permit.
Yeah, I'll issue an email or a letter to Don just stating that no zoning compliance is required, and that should take care of that issue.
Alright, sounds good. Let me know if I need to, what he was talking about the.
Yeah, that'll be the decision the board makes. So if there, it's just one more assurance that's as a possibility. If you need it, you do it. If you don't.
Does he
Mom,
need to come to that meeting? Does he need to come to that meeting?
Board meeting, probably, well, we can see what we get drawn up, and if we can get it to you before the agreement, before the meeting, and you're in agreement with the terms, then we can probably just present it to the board.
That's fine, just holler at me. My in-laws might move into it, so I'm definitely making it go away.
That's all the assurance.
You're on
you need.
camera saying that.
That's a lot worse than $2,000.
you're on TV.
That's all right. Just saying.
Is
that everything
Yes.
you need?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then we're gonna move on to
Thank you, have a good night.
agenda item 4.1, Spring Creek Farms Phase 1 plat approval request.
I have not received that information yet. They have brought back a question asking for some clarification on some items about the bond amount, things of that nature. But my ultimate question is, for Todd probably is, since we tabled it last month, and what do we need to do this month in order to comply with?
I think we need to deny it. You
Well,
deny it.
it definitely, I guess my question is, has it been submitted? But just even if it, I don't think if it's never been
No, it was-
submitted, then it's never,
Well, this-
but.
it was
I-
submitted
It
months
was
before
submitted
last.
last month, yeah.
And we tabled it.
We
We
tabled
chose
it
to
last
table it for
month.
1 month.
There was actually a plat
Yes.
submitted for approval. Okay,
Yeah, it
then
was-
you need to deny it, otherwise it'll be deemed approved.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's what I thought.
All
It
right,
was that one.
do I have a motion to that effect?
And we need to state the basis for the denial in the motion.
I'd make a motion we deny the plat on the grounds that the proper financial security for improvements has not been submitted. And clarification that we haven't had our engineer look over the plat because we didn't have the bonds. So there could also be items on the plat that would need to be corrected.
So the application is incomplete.
Correct. The application's incomplete due to bonds, financial security, and Todd, is that something, as far as looking over the plat, Jim, is that something, how does the city effectively and efficiently need to come up with the amounts for the bonds? Do we need to consult with a third-party engineer?
We do, but we have to get theirs first.
Okay.
We don't really come up with the amount, we affirm or
Yeah.
alter their suggested amount.
Okay.
And then we need a decent amount of time to do that, they can't expect that to happen in.
But I'll make that motion.
I have a motion to deny on the basis of incomplete plat application, right? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Somebody take a minute to do.
The camera.
No, no. Well, I just knew he wasn't here, so.
Yeah. All in favor of denial, let it be known by saying aye. All in opposition? Denied.
So before we move on to number 2, Mark, Jim, Todd, what is our move back to the developer? We just
I think,
tell him to get his ducks in a row and then,
yeah, I think I have to work with him on the questions that were asked last month and make sure that he knows exactly what needs to be on this next plat.
and does the city have access to a third-party engineer that can confirm with my only issue with confirming is confirmed with proper site access, site visits, not just somebody's word or a picture showing that something's done.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
If he bonds for asphalt topping, and there's no binder down, we need somebody to put their eyes on it to make sure that,
Yeah, a general inspection.
yes, yes, okay. So that whole process will be handled administratively with Mark and Jim. I guess you'll be the assistant as well.
Move to item 2, approve request for the residential buffer between the property located at 301 North Horton and its neighboring lots.
One to 3 years. Is that how long the fence is gonna last or when it's gonna be built?
Only time to have to build it.
I'm just. Mark, do you know what that means?
I'm assuming it means 1 to 3 years for the fence to be erected.
That's,
But it's just in that one little area where they've drawn the straight line.
Yeah, I think,
Is it there and there?
That's what I'm reading.
Right there, because it's a hard line, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the idea is to use trees for the site buffer around the property, and then, just added information that he's installing the fence at a later time.
And you put a copy of what the fence gonna look like in the back.
Did, it's a nice thing.
And, so is 1 to 3 years an adequate time frame for the city for this to be done?
I wouldn't think so if he's gonna throw a bunch of stuff back in there.
Stuff's already there.
I would say it needs
Put a
to,
fence up for
I would say the fence needs to go up either more quickly or,
But the fence is not,
It's not even gonna be a
it's not a
private
private fence. I mean, it's just a security fence.
The privacy is the,
There's the trees.
Right.
truth, yeah.
yeah, but did we not ask for a privacy fence between the residents next door, or was that up to the discretion of the residents?
Discretion.
of the resident.
So
next door to them.
did the residents say no, or do we
Yeah, I
know
think he
that?
was gonna
I
put
thought
one
they
up.
said yes.
I did too, so I don't know.
Okay, so that's not shown, this is something
Yeah.
completely different, completely different than what we saw before, okay.
This is based on.
So this fencing is just security
Right.
fencing, okay.
But the privacy, you know, I mean, if that's what the
Right there.
homeowners
There you go.
wanted, I have no problem with it. But I don't know if that's what they wanted, and until I know, it'd be very difficult for me to go ahead and vote on something.
It'd be
Is
kinda
the-
hard after we done went to ask the other people right next door to them there
Yeah,
what they wanted. And they said, well, I come from the back of my house back so far, and they agreed to do that, did they not?
yes,
Is that right?
I believe so, that's right.
That's
I didn't know what the neighbor said,
Yeah.
but
That's what
they
it
had agreed
said,
to
have
propose.
something between us.
I spoke with this gentleman, and he said that he would be fine with a privacy fence in between, not all the way
To the road.
to the road, but,
Starting at his front corner and going to the
Yeah.
back corner, okay,
yes.
okay.
So those dots would, where he wants the privacy fence would come on up to the front of his house.
No,
Well, those are represented as trees.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, the privacy fence would start about right here.
No, the privacy fence was
Right
here.
here.
I think the ultimate question is,
Yeah.
is the planning commission going to allow trees to be the buffer around this property, which is,
I kind of think we need to look back at what we put in our design review criteria, because he rezoned the remainder of this property commercial, correct? So now that it's zoned commercial, I think we probably need to look back and see what language we put in that we're gonna require, or was our language so loose that it's just a case by
Well,
case?
what the ordinance specifically calls for is a buffer strip not less than 10 feet in width with a mix of evergreen shrubs and evergreen trees supplemented with other plantings to sufficiently screen the non-residential use from the adjoining residential uses. The length of the buffer shall be determined by the planning commission on a case-by-case basis. However, the length of the buffer shall in every case be sufficient to screen the non-residential use from the adjoining residential uses.
So he probably needs, in addition to the green giant,
I mean, they're eventually gonna be that big, but not starting off.
No, they,
So
in this
in-
variety grows 3 feet per year.
so in addition to the evergreens, do we need some smaller shrubbery in
That's
between?
why I wrote it that way.
And or an earth berm, or is this in lieu of an earth berm?
I would say it's in lieu of an earth.
Okay, it's probably more attractive than.
Because he's gonna go
earth berm.
10 feet on center, right?
It's what it looks like, yeah.
I don't feel comfortable with O'Can is, because if you see the two dots between that house and backside that building down there he's got, is that what he planned on putting to satisfy that person next door to him? That's not what.
I think we need a better architectural drawing by
Yeah.
a landscape,
That's
by a
the
landscape
other,
architect or
Yeah.
equivalent.
and that's the other thing, and you may recall, Isaac, the ordinance that I've got specifically requires that the plan be submitted by a landscape architect.
Okay.
I thought at some point after that, maybe we had
Well, I know
required that.
I know the one Doug River submitted was professionally done. It was very good. seems like someone else at some point may have come in with a hand-drawn something, but I know the bigger ones like the bank and the Duck River Electric and all those guys had a professional architectural drawing that was drafted by, I assume, an engineer or landscape architect. So I think
And
since,
then what they'll do is they'll get that definition and they'll build
Yes.
to that standard.
and since we have rezoned this property commercial, I think that's the direction we have to go with it.
So you're gonna give, is Moorhead submitted this?
Yes, I think we have to,
So you're gonna give that, what Todd read back to Moorhead to come up with a landscape architect drawing?
do we table this for a better drawing, or do we deny it? And
Probably just deny the plan that's been submitted and submit
Ask.
it back to them with the language from the ordinance.
I make a motion, we deny the plans as submitted with the request from the property owner to resubmit a better landscaping plan drafted by a landscape architect or equivalent,
I have a motion.
consistent with our
I was
regulations.
fixing to say that.
There you go. There you go.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Other business. Any motion, Judge?
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, rise.
Marion, I will tell you before you got here, we had our 5 o'clock informal together meeting with Mr. Knox. And the meeting, other than not having a whole lot of facts we need, I think the meeting